connection.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about your experience as a teacher?
Yep. I graduated with an undergrad in music education with a choral emphasis, and I student taught in a really nice urban school. Like, it felt almost suburban. Student taught in a high school choir, and then substitute taught for the remainder of the year. And then taught in a rural school district, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay.
At 3 different schools, and taught all types of music, general music, elementary and middle school band and instrumental music, high school guitar, general music, choir, band, and musical theater.
Wow.
So, but it was 360 kids, K through 12, so very small, rural, middle of nowhere.
Were you the only music teacher for those 360 kids? Okay.
I was the only music teacher I taught. In the elementary classrooms, I saw every student once a week, so that's more than Pittsburgh. They do once every 6 school days.
Okay.
So I was seeing them once a week, and then the high school and middle school, I saw them every day.
Okay. And how much time, how many like years was that? Were you like moving when you were teaching?
I did 3 years for the school district, and I taught the first year at each of the 3 schools every single day and just kind of rotated my classes. And then I switched my schedule, so I was only teaching at 2 of the schools a day, but I was rotating which schools I was at, just so I wouldn't lose my whole prep period driving between the schools, because it was about 45 to 50 miles of driving every day just between the schools.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about like some of the challenges being a teacher in that environment. I mean, you've started talking about it a little bit, but what were some of the things that were like really hard or surprising as like a teacher?
Well, now that I've left that environment and come specifically to a very urban environment, and a lot of my training here at Carnegie Mellon University in music education for my master's has been on the urban classroom, how to deal with that. And it's really similar to the rural environment.
Okay.
You have a lot of poverty,
Yeah.
broken families, single parent homes, someone's in jail, lots of problems that come with poverty. So the biggest challenges was just trying to get family contact, figure out where the kid was going home to, and if there's any communication between the teacher and the parent. It was really difficult to get a hold of them, find someone, because most parents were working 2 and 3 jobs because they were single parents that needed to support their family. So it was really difficult to have that contact.
Yeah, and when you sort of, how would you know that there were issues in the home? Like, how would you see them in the classroom, or, you know, like, is it just you spend time and you kind of start to know, or you have suspicions, or like, how do you find out about that?
It's first on just the behavior. You can see a healthy child that can come from a complete family, usually is the one that's dressed well. At least their clothes are clean, their faces are clean. Just overall, their physical appearance is one indicator, but the emotional side effects of being from a poor family or a broken family, I don't know the best political correct way to say that. But you can just see emotionally how they react to people. Eye contact.
Yeah.
If someone's not willing to give eye contact to you, you know that they don't get that a lot at home. And so kids mimic their behavior, and with the child development classes I've taken, between ages of 4 to 6 is where they get so much of their learning and everything that comes through. So if they haven't had that contact with a parent during those ages, learn how to communicate, say please and thank you.
Yeah.
It's really hard to start teaching that in 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade. So you know immediately where they fit and the troubles that they're facing at home just by how they act at school.
Yeah. Do you think that when you're in the school environment, are there things that you can start to help them develop as in the classroom, or is it difficult because it's like a classroom setting, or to what extent can teachers sort of play that role, or?
I think definitely there can be boundaries set in a classroom because it's different than home life. It
Right.
should be different. A
Right.
kid is there to be educated and to learn. And when you're home, you're playing with mom and dad, or you have video games, you have a different structure to your life. That's where you do so many different things. At school, you are there to have structure and figure things out. So I think putting those boundaries in, even if they don't have boundaries at home or structure or a safe, loving environment, you put those boundaries there so they have that safe, loving environment, so you can take care of, you know, the lowest needs of just feeling safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
Then you can start helping them with other skills of sitting quietly, working hard, interacting with other people, learning how to work as a team, and
Right.
all those basic skills that they might have missed at home.
Cool. So, as you know, like one of the areas that we're looking into, that we have heard some and done some like initial research, is that there's these challenges in the education system, and like the area that we're looking at is teacher burnout, because it's so challenging to be a teacher just in general, and then especially for teachers in like low resource environments and things like that. And yeah, I was wondering if you can kind of tell me what you think about that, sort of what leads to teacher burnout, or like what are some of like the just like some of the ways that those are being dealt with or not being dealt with, like the support structure for teachers. I did like a junior achievement like stuff like in the years past, and like teaching was one of the hardest things I ever did, like that one day the one days that I did it. And the teacher was also mentioning kind of like some of the issues that she had in the school system. So I guess just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Teacher burnout is very real. I substitute teach for Propel Charter Schools, and I go into any classroom K through 12. So I've been in high school science, Spanish, middle school science, language arts, all different levels of elementary, music, visual arts, PE. I've done everything, and I've seen teachers and been in classrooms where the teacher has quit, and this is November, and I've been in 8 different classrooms that teachers have already quit this year. Just, they're burned out, don't want to be there anymore, ready to walk away. And then I've seen their colleagues and how they react to it. I find it difficult to go into a classroom and put so much time and effort into kids who turn around and disrespect everything. They don't want to listen. They are disrespectful to the materials. I've seen laptops thrown across rooms, and the teachers there trying to help them with structure and say, okay, can everyone please close your books, we are going to line up for lunch. And they go through all the routine, and there are 14, 15-year-olds that they don't know how to follow a basic routine, or they don't feel like they're held to that expectation because one person will act up and nothing's said, and then half the class starts acting up, and everyone does, and the teacher at that point doesn't know where to start. They call out one person's name and say, please behave, and then that person says, well, she did that and he did that, and there's very little of the kids owning their own actions and, you know, acknowledging, okay, I've done something that the teacher has asked me not to do. I need to stop that behavior and like own my actions, not make an excuse and blame it on someone else. And that's my biggest frustration as a teacher, especially as a substitute, because I have no rapport with the kids. I walk in not knowing anyone's name.
Right.
And 30 new kids, new faces that I've never met.
Right.
And go in and say, please sit down. Why do I need to sit down? They're not sitting down, and they just have that attitude of, I'm not owning my own actions. So teacher burnout was very common because there isn't that structure.
Mhm.
And I've seen most of all that the easiest thing is to say, will you take care of your own actions? And instead of saying I need you to do it, say you need to be responsible for yourself, rather than the teacher saying I need it. 'Cause what did I do to deserve that? I haven't deserved anything from them. Just showing up to receive a paycheck for the day, I haven't earned anything for that student. So I've turned my vocabulary around to say you need this. You need this for yourself. You need to own your actions. This is for you.
Yeah.
And not putting anything on myself, because at the end of the day I'm walking away and I'm fine with it, and it doesn't really carry over as a substitute because I don't have that. But there have been days where I feel like if I had to return to that classroom, it'd be so hard to have to go in again and see the same kids do the same thing and do everything to try and help them, and they don't show like they care.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that they don't care, I think it's they don't understand. They're kids. And that's been my biggest thing I think about when I was in middle school especially. I didn't know what was right from wrong. Yes, I did, but I didn't understand the consequences of my behavior and actions. And I was a pretty good kid. But with teacher burnout, there's that constant, teachers do so much and they stay for hours correcting papers, cleaning up the classroom, and papers are thrown all over. It's getting the kids to own their actions and moving on from that, rather than thinking that I'm doing all this for you and you don't respect me. No, you're there to create a safe environment, let them have a place where they can learn. Hopefully they